Hello there, thank you for choosing to click on this video. Believe me, you are going to see some of the best predictions for the knockout stage of the World Cup. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the new format, third place teams going through. I mean, there are too many games, too many teams. Even this bracket predictor looks cumbersome. It's hard to navigate. But without further ado, we'll go ahead, predict all the matches. I'll give my opinions on some interesting games and see where that takes us. Starting off with the first tie, Germany versus Paraguay. This Germany team hasn't been super convincing so far. I don't think they're going far in this tournament. However, I don't think Paraguay has what is necessary to knock Germany out. Let's go for Germany here. They've allowed goals in all their 3 games so far, so that's something concerning. Germany should be much better in the back. Next up, France versus Sweden. France is, I would say, by far the strongest team on paper in this year's edition, and it's been that way probably since 2018. They are going past Sweden. Next up, South Africa versus Canada. Los Angeles Stadium, which means Canada won't have that home advantage they've had in the group stage, but they are still playing close to home, and overall I do think they'll go through. Next up, the Netherlands versus Morocco. This is one of the ties that I could get wrong, and I would love to see Morocco go through. However, something is telling me that it is going to be the Netherlands. I believe that a lot of the Morocco hype is based around their performance from 4 years ago. This tournament, however, even though they've drawn against Brazil, I don't see them making it out of this tie. I'll just have to go with the Dutch. Next up, Portugal versus Croatia. The two teams that I would say many people expected to do better. And the reason why is similar to the case of Morocco. They are teams that have performed well in the last 10 years, especially in Euros, and Croatia in the World Cup, being the runners-up in 2018 and winning the bronze in 2022. But their team is aging. You could see that in the games against Ghana, against Panama even. It wasn't the good old Croatia. Pretty much the same goes for Portugal. I think the whole Ronaldo situation is doing nobody a favor. So whoever goes through here won't make it far. I'm sorry, no World Cup for Ronaldo. But as far as this tie goes, I think the Portuguese will edge it out just slightly. We could definitely have some penalty shootouts to decide the winner here. Next up, Spain versus Austria. The case of Austria is one of the examples why I don't like the new format. That game last night against Algeria, it was a bit suspicious. I didn't like the way it played out, and I feel sorry for Iran. But yeah, I think that Spain is going to do well in this tournament. They have a good squad, even though they had the initial hiccup against, what was the name of the country? Cape Verde, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Just a second.
Cape Verde.
Yes! Who's the best guy at geography? Mr. Markolingo. And the same applies to football. Guys, follow the predictions. We have the USA against Bosnia and Herzegovina. I could also see the US beating Bosnia by 2 to 3 goals. So, sorry Bosnians, but the US are going through. Seattle Stadium, Belgium versus Senegal. I think I'm going to go Senegal. We need an African team to make it through. So far, I've mostly backed Europeans. I think that I should back some Africans as well. Brazil versus Japan. Again, Japan is a team that I've adored. I've always rooted for them in all the previous tournaments. I would love to see them pull an upset here, but I think Brazil is just too strong. So without Côte d'Ivoire, or should I say the Ivory Coast against Norway, I think it's going to be Norway. I don't have much explanation as to why, but I think that Holland will do his thing. Mexico, Ecuador, I don't think I need to explain my reasoning here. England, Congo, again, just let's be honest, even though England are eventually going to bottle it, they're not bottling it against Congo. DR Congo, should I say. Miami Stadium, I mean, Messi is playing at home, so let's just not spend too much time on that. But all the respect to Cape Verde, all due respect, guys, you are the bright spot of this tournament and the only real underdog story that has come through. You are the only justification for this expansion. All the other teams that have come in, like Uzbekistan, Haiti, Curacao, they haven't really delivered. Australia versus Egypt. It's an interesting tie. I'll back Australia. I think Aussies will have enough to go past the Egyptians. Egypt hasn't been so convincing in the group stages. BG Palace Vancouver, Switzerland versus Algeria. Switzerland. And lastly, Colombia versus Ghana. It's gonna be Ghana. You have to back the Africans whenever possible. So now we have to go all the way up. And we see a tie of Germany versus France. Now, some years ago, this would have been a really tough, tight tie, but this year, I think it's going to be France all the way. I expect to see France winning by at least 2 to 3 goal margin. Mark my words. Canada versus the Netherlands. In Houston, I think in Houston, the Dutch are going to do it. Portugal versus Spain, the Iberian Derby. Again, some years ago would have been much closer. This year, however, I see Spain winning that comfortably. The US versus Senegal in Seattle. The US, I mean, they just have to win when they're at home. I don't think they'll be losing to any weaker sides on paper. If the US are going to lose, it's going to be against your Brazils, your Argentinas, etc. Next up, Brazil versus Norway. It's going to be an interesting one, but I'll go for Brazil here. I would love to see Brazil finally have a great tournament. They haven't been in the semis since when? Since 2014, right? Since that tragedy against Germany. So they deserve a good tournament eventually. Mexico versus England. This is where the English are going to bottle it. Or can you really say they're bottling it against the hosts in their capital? But it's Mexico all the way. Vamos. Let's move on to the next tie. Argentina versus Australia. Who will I choose? Obviously, it's going to be Argentina. Messi is probably going to score another 2 goals there. And then Switzerland versus Ghana. You know what? I'm going to back Ghana. I'm going to back Ghana because the Swiss, they did have decent games in the group stage. They managed to sort of trash Bosnia, but that was only after Bosnians got a red card. So other than that, I don't feel like they've really showcased some incredible talents and skills. And while I do think they'll have enough in their tank to beat Algeria, I can see Ghana going past them. Which brings us to the quarterfinals, and right there we have which ties France versus the Netherlands. It's gotta be France, guys. I don't think we should spend too much time doubting this. Next up, we have Spain versus the US. That is a good tie. In LA, there's gonna be many Latinos, I believe, rooting for Spain. I don't think they're gonna root for the US under the current administration. And I think that support and everything will be enough to knock the US out of this World Cup. Still a great run though for the hosts. I think they'll have reasons to be proud of themselves and to build upon this success. I do think we're going to see the US becoming a more serious contender in future editions of the World Cup. Miami Stadium, Brazil versus Mexico. Again, a place full of Latinos. So, really tough. I'm gonna go for Mexico. You might call me crazy, but I think Mexico is going to be that dark horse of this tournament. And finally, who do we have here? Argentina versus Ghana. Even though I love my Africans, it's gotta be Argentina here. We'll see Messi score at least 2 more goals here. He is on his GOAT tour. And in the semifinals, we'll have France versus Spain. And who's gonna make it through here? It is going to be Spain. It's funny that I'm spending last time discussing semifinal games than the round of 32 games, but it's just because I've realized there are too many games to go in depth. And really, I don't have any scientifically based reasoning for my predictions. I'm mostly going off of my gut feeling, but I was able to correctly predict one side of the bracket for the 2018 World Cup, and I think this one will be pretty good as well. On the other side of the bracket, we have the hosts, Mexico against Argentina, and even though I said Mexico are dark horses, I don't think they'll have enough in the tank to beat Argentina as well. They're going to upset Brazil, but it'll be just too emotionally draining. You'll see them crumble against Argentina, just like Croatia in 2022. Remember, they lost to Argentina in the semifinal thanks to them beating Brazil in the quarterfinals. I mean, inadvertently, I've created more or less the same storyline as in 2022, and I do think the history is going to repeat itself. Do we have the 3rd place game? I don't think we do, but I'll just go ahead and predict it. It's going to be Mexico versus France. And even though Mexico are going to be more motivated, I believe that France will take that and claim the bronze medal. Now, the question arises, who's going to be the winner of the FIFA 2026 World Cup? And my answer is, drum roll please, it's going to be Spain. I don't think Argentina is going back to back with their World Cup titles, even though it would be a very poetic ending to Messi's international career, especially with his initial retirement that took place in 2016 or something like that. I still think Spain are the best team overall, and with their young stars and their great tradition, their great philosophy of football, they are going to beat Argentina in the final and claim this year's title, which would again be very similar to what happened in 2010, where they won the World Cup after winning the Euros 2 years prior. So folks, tell me in the comments if you agree or disagree with my predictions. No matter what you say, I know that my predictions are coming true. I hope you were able to learn some new vocabulary. You can find all the words down in the description. Until the next video, enjoy the World Cup and keep watching my videos to improve your English. Bye bye.